はい、皆さんこんにちは、Showです。今回なんですけど、オーストラリアでの就活についての動画になります。これね、先に言っておきます。この動画、超有料級の動画になってます。というのも、世界をね、代表する企業で人事として働いていた方に実際にね、今回は登場してもらいます。なのでその方にどういうところをね見て採用しているのかであったりとか、留学生にとってどんなことが求められるのかっていうところも聞いていきたいと思います。その中で、面接での話し方のコツであったりとか、話をね持っていき方っていうところも深く聞いていきたいと思います。今回はねレストランとかカフェとかバーとかそういった、仕事ではなくて、どちらかというとオフィスで会社員として働くっていうところにフォーカスしていきたいと思います。でね、実際に僕もTAFEがもうすぐ終わって今後の進路をね真剣に考えているというタイミングもあってね、僕も皆さんと一緒にこの動画で学んでいきたいと思います。なのでこの動画最後まで見ていただければ、どうやってオーストラリアで就活するのかであったりとか、こういうところを意識しながら仕事をゲットしていくのかっていうところが分かりますので、ぜひね最後まで見て皆さんがね感じたことっていうところもコメント欄でね教えていただければ嬉しいです。ということで早速行ってきましょう。 Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time. Nice.
How are you?
I'm good.
Alright, so today I want to ask you about the job in Australia.
Sure.
How do you employ staff in your company? So first I want to ask your name or nationality. Give me your introduction.
A little bit about myself.
Yeah.
Right. Hi everyone. My name is Sunny and I'm Thai. I'm from Thailand. I was born and raised in Thailand, but I moved to Australia in 2019. Well, I lived in Japan for a short moment, but then I met an Australian husband, and then I moved here. And I've been watching.
Abroad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
studying abroad.
Yeah.
I studied in a Japanese uni for a little while, like less than a year.
Okay.
And then I stumbled upon Show's channel, and I think it's very interesting. So I
Yeah.
feel like, oh, maybe I want to if there's an interesting topic he wants to talk about, so just shoot him a message.
Yeah.
And randomly we're here.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, so basically you can speak Japanese, yeah? まあ
できるかな?
Alright, so we can speak English in this video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my Japanese is too bad.
I don't know, I need to improve my English as well.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
He's
maybe
already really good. He's like, look at my Japanese.
my subscriber
Yeah.
wanna know like English as well.
Are they mostly Japanese or are they mostly?
Yeah, mostly Japanese.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
All right, we all practice together.
Yeah, I try to put some English subtitle and Japanese subtitle for you guys. So don't worry, she speaks English so fast, but don't worry, I'm gonna put every single word.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Put a Japanese subtitle so I can read it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
All right.
I'll do that.
All right.
Okay, so first of all, I wanna ask you what kind of company you're working, what kind of industry you're working.
All right. So I work in, I've been working in a few different industries. I work in customer service before, and
Yeah.
also in recruitment as well.
Yeah.
So, for confidentiality, though
Yeah.
I cannot disclose what companies I work for, but one of them is one of the biggest tech company, and the other one of the biggest auditing company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this video, I wanna focus on more like recruiting. Okay, like
Yeah.
you say HR, human resources.
Yeah. So among HR, there are quite a few, there are people who do like compliance, employer branding, blah, blah, blah. But the part I'm working is specifically on recruiting. So those that interview you guys.
Yeah. How many people have you interviewed so far?
I think it's very hard to put a number.
Yeah.
But I would say I've screened a few thousand resumes in the course of a year.
Yeah.
And I think I interviewed less than 1,000, thankfully.
That's quite a lot. Yeah.
But quite a lot of
including
people.
international students.
Including
I mean
international students, yeah. So there are Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, international students, working holiday visa holder.
Yeah.
So it might be something that you guys are holding.
So when you interview someone, what perspective you look at?
So I think this depends on the different roles. Depends on what roles we're looking at. Let's say if you talk about that tech company, like technology
company, yeah.
So the tech company,
Yeah.
big companies, they have resources. So they might not look at your hard skills, like they're not like you have to know IT and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's more like, what is your soft skill? How do you approach people? Do you have the same values that the company has? And do you share the same vision that they have? And then those skills, they can help you improve that. The company I worked with before, they have a lot of resources, and even though you are not a technical specialist, you did not graduate in IT, they can still help you improve that. But they want to see who you are. They want to see if who you are align with what they want to see in their people. So that is one of them.
Okay. So the company require you all this perspective you should look at.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the other company I work with, they're a bit more on like qualifications. I'm not talking about which uni you graduated. It's more like what is your degree and what kind of visa you're holding. So I was speaking to Show before we started this kind of interview, this video, talking about how some companies actually looking at, like, do you meet their criteria? If you don't meet any of these criteria, they don't even read your resume.
Like English.
What is your English test result? What is your visa? What degree you graduated? And if you don't meet all these criteria, they don't even read your resume. They don't even want to call you in because, at the end they will not be able to make an offer. And this will link to what we'll talk later around visa and stuff as well.
Okay. But can I ask you what English level you are expecting from the candidate?
For the company I work with, they expect a minimum 7 every band for IELTS. They actually have every band.
That's
7.
so hard.
So writing is the hardest part for most of the people.
Yes.
And also like if you do like PTE, I can't remember for PTE, but I think they expect over 65 for all the bands for PTE.
Actually, I never taken PTE, but I heard of that. It's similar to IELTS,
yeah,
right?
I've heard it's a bit cheaper and also it's a bit easier. But I can't tell. I didn't take that test as well. But yeah, if you want to work in an Australian company, basically if you're not Australian permanent resident or not Australian citizen, it is very essential for you to hold an English test result and make sure it's valid in the last 2 years usually.
Okay. So you need to take an IELTS over 7.0. Good luck for you guys.
The higher it is, the better it is. You actually can check this in the Australian Home Affairs website. You know when you want to apply for a skill independent visa, it will be a ranking of if your IELTS score any other English score. The higher this is, the higher score you will get. So if you get 6,
but is that not necessary, right, to get a job? Like most of company is okay for like 6.0 or 6.5.
Professional services, no. Professional services, it is essential.
Okay.
But if you're looking at, I don't know, a smaller firm, smaller company, maybe their criteria is not very strict. But for Australian government, and if you are looking at to live in Australia for a long term, you will need to have that English test anyway.
Okay. So I'm gonna say like Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, like.
I can't say.
Yeah, I know. Just I'm saying it. So those company is big company, so everyone knows.
Auditing firms like Big 4, Big 3, or like tech company, software company, they're definitely required the English test result.
So don't give up the IELTS, okay?
You can do it. This is something like, I don't know, like I'm Thai as well. I was born and raised in Thailand. I'm not studying it, like I did not study international school. But this is, I don't want to say this is hard work, but back when I was in high school, I thought English will take me somewhere further than where I was. And then I'm just going to do better. And this is what I studied in high school. I would say, once your English is set or quite solid, it will make a lot of things easier.
Okay. Thank you.
Gambatte.
So next question.
Yeah.
What kind of question do you ask for candidate when you interview?
I was talking to Show before. I was like, I can't really tell all the questions.
No detail.
One is that every company wants to see that do you know their company or not. So they'll be like, why do you want to work with Show channel, for example? And then they won't test if you actually know about their products. Let's say if you want someone to work in your channel, right? You'll be
so
like,
I
have you
need
watched
to.
our channel before?
So I need to see what you can do.
Exactly. What are something of your channel that interests you? That is the same thing with the company. They want to see someone who know their products. Especially, I would say, for a big company, they would expect you to have some kind of sound knowledge or basic knowledge of their company. And then hard skill for sure. Let's say if you're applying for like software engineer, they will need you to be able to write coding and stuff, right? But aside from those hard skills, they look at how you work as a team. So with the company I work with, aside from the interview, they actually have group activity as well. So actually every company that I work for, they will have a group activity. Or when you show how you cooperate with other people. It's not about having the best answer in the group activity. It's more like how do you find a balance of expressing your own experience,
how you solve your
express your own opinion, and also letting other people talk as well. That is what it is in most of the professional company, that you have to, you know, work with other people. And if you're not a team player, we're not sure if it's good to hire you, kind of.
So that's similar to Japanese shukas.
Is it?
Yeah, we have team activity in front of the inspectors.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never worked like in a Japanese company. I'm not sure how is it.
Yeah, it's similar. Interview, team activity, internship.
I would say like something different that correct me if I'm wrong. One thing is that when you make a resume in Japan, you have to put your photo, you have to put like a lot of details about yourself. Meanwhile in Australia, you should not put a photo like at all, because if you put a photo, it shows your race, it shows your gender, and these things can be, you know, kind of bias or like discrimination. So sometimes if you put a photo, company just have to exclude your resume because it could lead into bias. So if you are thinking of applying for a role in, at least in Australia, make sure you're not including your nationality, you're not including your photo, you're not including your gender, something like that, because it could lead to discrimination. They want to prevent that.
So that's part of the law.
That's part of the law that most of the company have to follow. So this is something to kind of bear in mind. And also, like I mentioned in the very beginning, that if you have an English test, it will make your application much stronger.
Okay, next question. I heard in Australia, if you find a new job, you need experience before you get in the company.
Okay.
Is that true?
It's a very tricky question.
Yeah, because you know, I'm trying to find a job. Not right now, like after TAFE, I need to find a job at least. But I don't have any experience in IT industry in Japan as well, in here as well. So I gotta know what is the truth.
Alright, it's a bit hard to tell.
But
let's talk about professional side. If you talk about, like, you know, he's doing technology related courses in Australia, they will kind of divide it to, I would say, I will put it into 3 groups. So intern, graduates, and experience. So if you are going for an intern role, they would not really expect anything from you. It's more like who you are, it's more like your perspective.
You want to keep working.
Your personality. It would work with the team. Second one is graduate. They don't really like want a lot of experience. But let's say Show and me. And Show did intern before. Meanwhile, I have no internship experience. They'll be like, maybe Show can be a good candidate, right? Hence, to prepare yourself for that leverage or that advantage over other candidates is that you should look for an intern early in your university years. So I would say in your penultimate year. Let's say if you're studying 3 years in uni, at the end of your second year, you gotta look around, like if there are any intern opening. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but it's
better to have experience.
They'll be like, oh, this person worked with us before. A bit more interesting in a sense, but ultimately it's how you do in the interview. The thing is, will you be invited to the interview? I would say for international students or a working holiday visa holder, the hardest part is how will you convince them to invite you to the interview, right? Let's say you're not an Australian citizen, not an Australian permanent resident. There are quite a few criteria they will look at. What is your English skill? What is your degree? If you are looking at like applying for skill independent visa later, you have to graduate in those, like, I can't remember what are they, but the list will be in the Home Affairs website. But
occupation list, right?
STEM degree or like, you know, aged care, healthcare, something like that. But I'm talking about professional services. STEM is science, technology, engineer, and mathematics or accounting. So these are the pipeline that Australian government would prefer people to graduate and
very demanding job.
More demanding role. There are student visa 500, there are graduate visa 485, and then pathway to permanent resident, right? So I know some of the students might thought like, oh, I need to have 485 first before I start applying, which is not entirely true. When you are 500 visa on your last year, you actually can start applying already. because your 485 is valid for around 2 years or 3 years. I'm not sure. Please don't
it
quote
depends.
me. Don't quote me on this. You're gonna check on the Home FI website. I know they have recently changed, but basically you have to calculate if you will have enough time. Or because when you apply for skill independent, they will have a requirement that you need to have this month experience. As I remember, for probably 18 months, you need to have this much experience. Let's say the visa gives you 2 years, and you spend 5 months looking for a job. That means you have how many months left? 17 months left or something. Basically, you will not have enough months to accumulate all the experience to apply for the skill independent.
At least 2 years having experience.
I can't remember. Okay, I really can't remember.
Okay.
You have to check in the website.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to look at the Australian Home FI website regularly. It's about you do self-studies, because I have seen a lot of students that apply, or a lot of international students, that they might have such great skills, so impressive resume, but they did not meet the criteria on visa, on English test, and that is the saddest thing for a recruiter. Like, oh my gosh, I want this person in the team, but I know that if we hire them, the company have to basically help them get the visa or sponsor the visa, and that will cost the company $10,000, $15,000, and they don't want to do that. Hence, that will cut down the risk, right? So I would say that's probably the hardest part. But as long as you do like personal research, you look at your future at least 3 to 4 years forward, it will help to like make you understand what should you do at the moment, what you should prepare.
Okay. My God.
This is getting stressed.
That's so real story. So
I feel bad that I'm making this such a stressful conversation.
like I am doing on this situation right now because I almost finished TAFE curriculum. So
It's stress?
you give me like anxious.
You know, and some sense it's a harsh truth that someone have to say. What I'm saying though, it depends on each company, and this is just the experience of the company that I work with.
Okay. Alright. Next question.
Okay.
What is the most important thing to get a job for international students?
I would say, remember I talked about the criteria?
English?
Make sure you read their requirements and meet all those criteria before you apply. No, okay, I want to say before you apply. Like I said, if you have very impressive resume, but you did not, you failed one of the criteria, they basically cannot hire you, right? I'm not talking about interview. They don't even... Oh my god, this is very stressful. I'm sorry.
It's alright. No, that's true.
But let's say I have show resume. Oh, he graduated in this thing. Oh, very good. Oh, he's fluent in Japanese. Oh, so good. But his English test, he's like 6. He's not gonna meet the criteria. I'm not even gonna pass this to my manager. I'm basically putting this away. I'm rejecting this candidate already. That's what I talk about. You gotta see yourself in a few years' time and get yourself ready. If you're like, okay, I'm gonna apply for a job soon. Should I take a test? Should I start studying English? And rather than like, oh, it's time to apply. Oh, I don't have my IELTS test. Oh, I'm gonna do it now. And then let's say your score came out not very good. And you're like, oh damn it, oh, what should I do? Oh, I don't have enough time. Don't leave it until last minute. You panic about it. I would say important thing is check what requirement they have. Meet those requirements first, then you will get invited to the interview, and then that's part that you can showcase yourself. You can get yourself ready for the interview. We talk about resume and also cover letter. I'm not sure if is it necessary in Japanese?
No, I don't think so. What is the difference between resume and
cover letter? Okay, so resume will talk about like where you graduated, what are your previous experience. You can put it in bullet points. Meanwhile, cover letter is like, dear recruiting manager, my name is Show. I am blah 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 blah. I graduated this uni. I have experienced a lot, and I think I could be a good match for your team. Or this role is very important, blah blah blah. Because blah blah. This cover letter, you have to talk about why you will be a perfect candidate for that role. Let's say you're applying for a customer service role. You're very active, friendly, and link your personal to the job. And also look at the job description, what kind of keywords they're using, and kind of use the same keyword or paraphrase it a little bit. Link it to your own stories. I would say that helps a lot to convince people. I know there are a few jobs that if you don't have cover letter, you're rejected.
Yeah, going to the bean.
You go to bed. So I would say having a cover letter is one of the important thing in getting a job here. And
But we
then-
need to change every cover letter to every company.
I would say because like on this side that I'm a recruiter, when you give me a cover letter that is very generic, it's like, dear hiring manager, I want to work in this job because I'm blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I will be a good fit of your team. Thank you. This can be for any role and
Yeah.
showing me that you are just basically randomly submit your resume everywhere, but you don't really want to work with us specifically. So it's not about applying for as many roles as possible. It's more like that the quality of your resume. Because
Yeah.
let's say if you apply for 100 roles, but they're all like, oh, you're very generic. Maybe you don't even hear back. But put a bit more of effort. And this is a time you can use ChatGPT, right? If you're not confident in your English, that's fine. Just write your resume
Yeah.
and may put in the ChatGPT, say, hey ChatGPT, can you improve this for me?
Yeah.
Can you help checking the grammar? So that it's not like, hey ChatGPT, write me a cover letter, right? Because that's going to be the same. And I'm telling you
don't do that. Don't do that.
Recruiter knows that you use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So I would say write your own and ask them to improve your cover letter. That will help a lot.
That's what everyone, like international students do. So everyone do this. So don't worry, not only you.
Yeah.
Not only for Japanese people. We should do that.
But because I don't know how, do you write cover letter in Japan?
We don't have.
So just
only
resume?
but we have resume, and also the question list from the company. The company asks you some question
Yeah.
before interview.
Oh, I think that's very similar in
Yeah,
Australia.
it's similar.
Sometimes they have what they call selection criteria. So they'll give you a list of questions.
Yeah.
Answer those questions. Australia, I would say resume, cover letter
Yeah.
comes together. Like you should have both together when you
Yeah.
apply for a role.
Alright.
Right.
Next question. Maybe my subscriber wanna practice interview before real interview. How do they practice?
The interview.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm not sure if you guys heard of STAR technique before, STAR. It's widely used in recruiter and the recruiting world. So STAR, STAR, S stand for situation, T stand for task, A for action, and
Yeah.
R for result. So a lot of company ask you a behavioral questions. For example, hey Show, tell me a time
Yeah.
when you are challenged beyond your technical knowledge. And then when you give the example, I would recommend people to use this technique. Tell them the situation, a bit of context of what happened, and then task or the challenge that happened at that time. A for action, so what do you do? Out of the four, spend most of your time in action.
Yeah.
What did you do as an individual? I know sometimes you work in team environment,
Yeah.
but talk about what you do. Not, oh, my team do this. Talk about I did this. And then talk about result. If possible, try to talk about positive result. Let's say you are applying for an IT role, right?
Yeah.
Think back of your experience, any kind of challenges you have been through before.
Yeah. So
And
what
then-
did you do in the uni or
Yeah.
college, and what did
Yeah.
you overcome your challenging?
Exactly. Sometimes you want to talk about group project. So give them those kind of storytelling. So when I was doing this, I was working in a team of 5 people. We are taking care of this thing. Then this problem happened.
Yeah.
And we have never done this before. The client want this, but we cannot do that. But what I did was,
Yeah. And then the result.
and the result, clients are very satisfied with the result, and at the end we were able to make it in time, blah blah blah. It helps you to keep track on what you're talking about as well, because in the interview sometimes you're like, oh, what was I talking about? So STAR technique is very useful, and also research a bit about the company you're working with. What are their values? How could you link that with yourself?
That's so useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know many technique for interview.
Honestly, like for me, working in recruiting is my personal passion. I remember how devastated it was when you are looking for a job and no one's helping you, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what is the best way to answer these questions. So I would say it is, I want to help other people, and I am somewhat an international student myself when I was in Japan, and I am not Australian. Though I'm a permanent resident, I'm very new to this country as well, and I know how hard it is. And if possible, definitely I want to be a good help, right?
Yeah. That's why I ask you this topic. This topic is perfect for you. Yeah. Okay. So next question is gonna be the last question.
Okay.
What is your advice for them who want to work in Australia?
find an Australian partner again.
Speak loud, please.
No, just kidding. But let's be honest, 100% honest. To have a good visa, to be a permanent resident, to be an Australian citizen, actually helps a lot to work here. But don't feel discouraged if you're not. Like I mentioned, carefully check their requirements and then double check with yourself. What are something you're lacking? What are something you have? I talked about this to Show before we start recording that being Japanese is already an advantage in some sense that you speak other language aside from English, right? So don't make it feel, oh, because I'm Japanese, I'm not as good. Think of it as like it's a plus. You know English and you know Japanese. Don't feel discouraged. You'll be fine.
I hope so.
そろそろ時間ですね。
そう時間ですね。Yeah, busy man.
No. I'm just thinking of this is how Japanese people want to cut off. They're like, そろそろ時間ですね. Like, you basically want to go.
Yeah, this topic is so useful. Like, I think you give us any benefit information for getting the job in Australia. Also me, like, I'm on the same page of you guys because, as I said, I almost finished TAFE. Maybe you guys don't know what happened to me. Then next, yeah?
I'll be rooting for you. I think like if they have like maybe a bit more question, can they like maybe messages you and we can talk about it?
Yeah, later, like another topic.
Yeah. In some of the
so we can keep taking a video about job because she has many experience in recruiting industry.
I have a bit of experience. Little bit. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sunny. Oh, you said your name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sunny. Oh, like I said, Sunny. So bad.
I would say like, well, to end this, just want to say I'm really thankful that you accepted my invitation because it's more like I was like, hey, Show, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, you know what? We rescheduled like 5 or 6 times already. Because like I was busy and she was also busy.
Our schedule keep clashing each other, and I'm like, I'm glad we finally made it today.
Finally made it
today. But thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
And it's very weird to be on the other side of
well.
I'm usually your audience.
Oh,
and I'm
I
on
see.
the other side of the camera.
Yeah. You're the subscriber,
yeah? I'm one of the subscribers.
Thank you so much. So I'm gonna say Japanese, okay?
どうぞ。
はい、ということでね、今回サニーさんにねこの動画来ていただきました。彼女はね面接官として会社でね働いていた経験があるということで今回ね出てもらったんですけれども、やっぱりね動画内で、話してたところがすごいねダイレクトというか的を得ているテクニックであったりとか、やっぱりビザの問題であったりとか英語の問題っていうのが関わってきますっていう、そういう嘘偽りのない情報が聞けたことがすごい良かったんじゃないかなと思います。何人かのね人にはやっぱり厳しい現実を突きつけられたって思うかもしれないんですけど、これが現実なんで実際、僕もやっぱり今スチューデントビザで次仕事を探すとか、そういう状況に置かれてますけれども、その中で絶対関わってくるのがビザなんですよ、留学生にとって。で彼女が最後アドバイスでジョークって言ってたファインディングパートナーって言ってたのもこれはジョークでも何でもなくて、それが一番やっぱり早いし、
それは冗談だよ
PR を取ってから仕事をね見つけるっていうのがいかにイージーかっていうのも分かってるんで、面接官としてね。で最後そういう風に言ったっていうのもあります。でそれは僕も分かって聞いてたんで、ジョークって言ってたけど僕はこれはジョークじゃないぞって僕は言いたいです逆に。かといってオーストラリアのパートナーを見つけて結婚しろって言ってるわけじゃなくて、いかにこの PR を取って仕事をするっていう道がすごい勝ち筋にあるかっていうところを今回この動画を見て分かっていただけたらいいかなと思います。その他にもねいろんな道
Treasure?
Yeah, like many ways to get a job. So don't focus on getting the PR.
I don't feel discouraged. Australia is a land, I would say it is a land of opportunities. And as long as you know yourself and you know the market and find that place to put yourself in. I started from working in like a restaurant, working a part-time job as well. Start from something small and then take a step higher or take a step further.
いつもね僕は挑戦してくださいとか何かしらで行動に移せば結果に結びつく可能性があると言ってるんですけど、今回のもつながってはいると思うんですけど、やっぱり挑戦するだけじゃちょっと難しい部分はあるんですよ。やっぱり違う国で仕事をしていろんなルールがある中で僕らはやってるんで、そのルールに乗ったやり方で挑戦していけば多分いいんですけど、そこを考えずに進んでいくと最後ねガチャーってなっちゃうんでガチャーってなっちゃうんで気をつけてね、僕も皆さんも一緒に頑張っていきましょう。
頑張ります。
頑張ります。
頑張ってくださいみんな。
And if you have trouble Maybe you can send me the message to
Yeah.
get a job. Maybe I will ask her. Can you hire us?
I wish. Oh, so come over with me.
はい、ということでね、この動画最後まで見ていただいてありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
この動画がいいと思ったりためになったと思った方、ぜひね、グッドボタン、チャンネル登録よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。バイバイ。